On this week's episode of Working with Todoist, I show you all about the new two-way real-time sync between Todoist and Google Calendar. Hello and welcome to episode 111 of my Working with Todoist series. And in this week's episode, yes indeed, we have another new feature come out with Todoist. Those guys over at Todoist have been incredibly busy over the last couple of weeks, I think, because we've also received an update to Todoist for Mac 7.0, which is a lot of under the hood changes, nothing too significant in the actual application and the UI, etc. Although the quick add entry is much faster, but it was already fast anyway, but they're just making these incremental improvements, which to me is a sign that things are very good over at the world of Todoist. Now, in this episode, although last episode I did cover the real-time sync between Todoist and Google Calendar, it was only actually one way, which meant that whatever was carried in Google Calendar on whatever tasks or events that you chose to put into Todoist would go from Google Calendar to Todoist, but you couldn't have Todoist send things over to Google Calendar. Well, this week that changed, and now we have real-time two-way sync. And that has opened up a whole lot of possibilities of what you can do between your Google Calendar and Todoist. Now, I am an Apple Calendar user, so if any of you guys working over at Todoist are listening to this episode, please, if possible, Apple Calendar would be really nice. However, what it has done for me personally is made me have a look at what possibilities there are between Todoist and Google Calendar. And of course, like most, Google Calendar is very easy to set up. So I've been playing around with it a little bit and to see what I could do. And I have a few ideas of how I could use this new feature in Todoist, and it is actually quite exciting to be able to use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how this two-way sync works so that you have a clearer picture, because I've seen quite a few questions in the video from last week about how this works, and now we've got both two-way real-time sync. I think this episode will just complete both last week's and this week's episode. So let's get into this and have a look, and I will show you how it all works. Okay, before we go into the Google Calendar real-time synchronization, what I want to do, just a second. Again, we just need to do the quick update on that, so I'll just click on that. Okay, now we're updated. So before we go into, I just want to give you a quick update on the UI difference between iOS for Apple, Todoist for Apple 7.0. The first thing you're going to notice when you update is that you've now got a two-tone line up at the top. Now that is, if you go on the lower line, the lighter colored line, nothing happens. If you hold down, click on the top line, you can actually move the screen about, move the window about. If you click on the full screen version, you'll notice that that disappears completely. The second thing I wanted to just show you is if I do you bring up the quick add entry. So this task needs doing tomorrow. So I've got the date. If I add in the project, so I'm going to call that a single action, you'll notice that this is actually becoming a little bit faster. I'm going to call it P1, and so and I need to give that a task of P1 and then at home. This is just so much faster. The label will come up much faster. But what I've noticed in here is that the typography has changed a little bit, as you can see, and it's just so much clearer when you're creating your task. So if you hit the enter, I can now add the task. And actually, if I look at this, the label's stuck there. So there's a few little bugs in the system. But the iconography has changed a little bit, but you can just add the task and it's so much faster. faster. So that's something just to keep in mind. But anyway, let's get into the Google Calendar Todoist integration, two-way real-time integration. And I'm going to switch over now to my demo account to show you how this works. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a tickler file. I don't actually have a tickler file here, but the tickler file is how I like to use with my calendar integration. So I'm going to call this tickler file. I'm going to allocate the red color for my tickler, and I'm going to move that up to the top. I always have done and always will do. So in my main account, my tickler file is always at the top. I'm just going to add a few tasks. So clean winter boots. So those of you who've been following my series, you know that I have a soft spot for boots and shoes. So clean winter boots, and what I usually do is I usually actually bold these. So I have I'm going to put the bold indication here. I'm going to call it tickler. This is how I do it. I'm not suggesting that you do this for a moment. And I'm going to schedule that for Friday the 27th. And I always prioritize ticklers as a red because that means they come up at the top of my list. So as you can see, what's happened here, the tickler is bolded, which is really cool. I'm now going to, it's actually come up on Saturday, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to create another tickler file, and I need to bold that. So we'll just go into here, and then as a ask wife if she'd like to go out for dinner. Okay, this isn't really a tickler task, but it's just something that I do need to do. So I'm going to do that on Monday. So I'm going to add one more task, which is tickler. And I've done it again. I didn't start off with my exclamation marks. And then we'll just go take Barney, which is my dog's name, to the vet for checkup. I'm going to put that on Wednesday. Now, notice I haven't put times in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, for my clean winter boots, I'm going to take dog in vet for checkup. Actually, well, that's the one that's more likely to have time. So I'm going to put that in 24th May at 2 p.m. So that actually has a time now at 2 p.m. Okay, so that's that set up. I'm just going to put these in flags because I always, as I say, I always flag priorities. So that's my tickler file done. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to actually set up your Google Calendar. Enjoy a two-way sync between your scheduled Todoist tasks and your Google Calendar. So I need to sign into the Todoist web app. So here we go. This is actually signing me in through Safari, but I'm going to connect it. And there enough, it's connected. And I'm going to connect it through my regular account. And I'm going to allow it to do that, which is no problem. And that's done. Now, what's going to happen here is it's going to ask me here. So pick a calendar, Todoist new, and all projects. Now, I don't want it to do all projects. I'm going to choose a specific project. So I'm going to click on my tickler file, set event duration. Okay, we can leave that as it is. Tasks without due time should be synced as all day events, which is what I want. But you do have the option, if you wish, not to sync ones without a due time, if you wish. So we're going to connect that, and that's now connecting. It's connecting. No, really, it is connecting. And there we go. So we now have a summary. My calendar name is going to be called Todoist. That will get set up. Synced project is my tickler file. Event duration is 60 minutes and status is okay. So that's now done. I'm going to go back into my Todoist here, and I'm just going to sync that now just to make sure that everything is up. So that's synced very fast. And now we're going to go into my calendar here. So what we have here is I just need to resync that one, and hopefully all the things have come in. So that is this week. Let's move on to next week, and here we go. Our tickler file has come in here. So we've got ask wife if she, blah, 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 blah. So I can click on that and it'll tell me, ask wife if she'd like to go out for dinner. That's done. Okay. And we've got clean winter boots over here on Saturday and take Barney in for his thing. Now, the thing is, once we're in the Google Calendar, we can change the colors. I'm actually going to leave it, I don't like it as orange. I think we're going to make that red. So that's that done. So those have come in. Now, let's take a look. As you can see, I now have an event conflict here because I exercise and taking my dog to the vet. So let's just say that I realize that I'm going to have to change that date, and I've got Thursday free. So I'm going to move that to Thursday. Okay, so remember, before it was set for Wednesday in Todoist, and now it's set for Thursday. So what I'm going to do is I go back to here, and look what's happened almost immediately. It's already switched to Thursday. Now, if I think, oh no, I really need to take him on Tuesday because it's quite important, so I'm going to move that. That's now updated there. Go back. This will need syncing, so we'll just sync that. And sure enough, immediately it's switched. Now, let's say that my winter boots, I've decided, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that on Sunday. So I'm going to schedule that for another date. So I'm going to move that to Sunday. That's actually moved that to tomorrow. So I need to change that. I'm going to change that to Sunday the 28th. So I've changed the date in Todoist. Let's go back to my calendar. And where's it gone? The 28th. It's not there. It's gone. So again, I'm going to need to sync this. That's synced. And sure enough, my winter boots has come in. So, okay, you're going to have to do a little bit of syncing, but it is done in real time. And that to me is really, really cool. Now, just say I decided, no, I don't know when to do that. So I'm going to delete that one. So I can click on it and I can say delete. So I've deleted it. It's completely gone. And I'm going to go back into my Todoist, sync it, and we should find that disappears. So there you go. That's the real-time two-way sync, and you can choose your calendar. But remember, if you've already set it up and you decide to change your calendar, what you'll find is if you go into your integrations, the only editing you can do is set event duration, task without a due time, and so on. You can actually edit the label to your calendar, but you can't change the calendar that you're syncing, and therefore you would need to actually delete or remove it and restart the process. Okay, that's just something that you should actually be aware of. Okay, so if you want to have a play around with this, there are so many wonderful ways. If you want more information on how this is working and how to set it up, then Todoist have done on their Todoist blog, they have done a full explanation of how it all works in here, and you can go in and read through that in your own time. I'll put a link in the linked section below. Okay, hopefully you found this really useful. So they've had a unique situation where we've had two topics the same, but that's because Todoist have been really busy and have made an amazing feature for the Todoist. Hopefully you found this useful. Apologies for it being a little bit long, but I'm hoping that you'll get a lot of use out of this two-way syncing between Google Calendar and Todoist. It just remains for me now to wish you all an incredibly productive week, and I'll see you in the next episode.